You passed your exam. You got the job. Yes, boo, yes. But now the panic sets in. You might be asking yourself, what should I be doing in my first 90 days as a BCBA? Help! Whether you're starting in a school, a clinic, or in a home-based setting, I am going to break down what you need to do month by month over the next 90 days because I'm here to help you so you're not figuring it out the hard way. The first month is all about observing, learning, and building relationships. If you take nothing else away, know that your ability to be a great BCBA, not good, okay? A great BCBA is all about relationships. I'm gonna say it again for the people behind you. All right, happy I got your attention. What can take you from a good BCBA to a great BCBA is all about relationships. So your goal in the first month is not to fix everything. I know it can feel like that because sometimes it might be that there's a new case starting or you might be taking over someone else's case. So you just feel like, oh my goodness, I have to prove myself. I have to show what I can do. I have to fix it like this. The BT is asking for this. My clinical director is saying this. My BCBA colleague is saying this. No. Your job in that moment is not to fix everything. Your job is to understand everything. And the way that you're able to understand is by observing, learning, and building relationships. So when we're thinking about observing, that can be observing your clients directly, that might be observing or shadowing other clinicians, as well as observing your BTs or your RBTs or direct line staff for that matter. And you don't want to just jump right in. And I say this because it's important for you to be able to take a step back and observe and see objectively what is going on. And that can tell you a lot about the things that you might need to fix or ways that you can best support the clinical team. So you might naturally start taking notes on behaviors that you're observing, whether it be positive behaviors or negative behaviors from the client or even the behavior therapist that you're working with directly. You may also want to observe and take note of what are some ways that you see that your therapists are building rapport and relationship with the client directly, the staff as well that they're working with and interacting with. And you also may want to take a step back and just see what are some of the programs that they're running, meaning the behavior therapist. What are some of the programs that the client seem most responsive to? What are some things that evoke challenging behaviors when presented to the client? Is there something that the therapist maybe seems to be more confident about when they're implementing versus other programs? Because sometimes we know we'll see therapists are reinforced by implementing specific programs and they're not as reinforced, whether it be because they don't understand how to do something or whether it be every time they present this particular program to a client that it evokes challenging behaviors. So those are some things that you're able to see when you just take a step back and you observe what the interaction is looking like with the clients. When we're thinking about learning, you want to make sure that you are learning the systems of the organization. I have had BCBAs come from other organizations or even newly minted BCBAs that sometimes come in and have used systems that we use, but we use them in a different way. So not to say that you have zero competence, because clearly you do, right? You've made it this far. But being open to understanding and learning how a specific platform or a system is used at an organization can really help you to be most successful. Because if you're starting in a new role and you tell somebody, say for example, we use CentralReach. If you tell someone, oh yeah, I have experience with programming in CentralReach, as an employer, I think, oh great, this person knows how to use CentralReach. I don't have to teach them how to use CentralReach. So then you may go and look at our platform that we're utilizing within the CentralReach system, and you may think, oh, you all set your program books up differently. You all do your treatment plans differently. So if you're just going right in and you're not taking the opportunity to learn and to ask those questions, then you could be missing the mark, and it can make your new experience as a BCBA pretty negative because you won't feel like you're as successful as you could be with prepping and setting up your clients for success, as well as your direct line therapists and yourself for that matter. Other systems that you may want to become familiar with within your company is scheduling. How does the scheduling work within the organization, and observing that. You may want to also have information on how the company does with their reporting to insurance companies or internal reporting. Those are all the things that you want to make sure that you get some exposure to prior to kind of like jumping in head first. We love initiative. We love initiative and we love a self-starter as an employer. But you also want to make sure that you are able to show initiative, but also do those things correctly, if that makes sense. And when you're building relationships, you want to meet everyone that you possibly can, from your administration, your secretary, your paras, your RBTs and direct line staff, their other BCBAs, parents. The relationships that you build will carry your leadership later. So, for example, when I was operating as a BCBA, and honestly, whenever I'm jumping in on a case clinically, even as an owner, I want to at least take about a week or so just to observe. I want to see what are the things that are working, what are the things that are not working, how is the client to staff engagement, because what that helps me to do is to make informed decisions, and also too gathering feedback from the therapists who are working directly with the clients, because honestly, they know them a lot better than we do as BCBAs. So with me being able to take that opportunity to observe and also solicit feedback for programming or things that are and aren't working will really help to make sure that when I am making changes programmatically, that it is coming from a point of complete information and not allowing me necessarily to make poor decisions because I am not taking the time out to observe as well as learn and build relationships. So if this has been of any benefit to you so far, please like the video and of course subscribe. I would love for you to stick around. So in the second month, between 31 to 60 days, and I'll preface, right? You may not have the liberty to just sit back and observe for a full month. There should be a balance of activeness for those cases or those staff that you're becoming a little bit more comfortable with. You might start to get a little bit more active, maybe week 1, maybe week 2. It all depends. This is just a general guideline. So know that some of these time periods are fluid and adjustable, but I am just here to give you some structure to your first 90 days as a BCBA. So within that second month, you're kind of stepping more into your role with intention. You might begin supervising staff more frequently, giving them some feedback, both positive feedback as well as corrective feedback. You might be doing some quick skills training on specific programs as well as behavior plans that you have now revamped. And because you have been able to build relationships with those staff, when you're giving some of those corrective feedback points or when you're making some bigger changes to programming, they will more than likely be more accepting of it because you've already taken the time to build the relationship with that individual. During this month, we'll also begin to audit some of the programs. Because you've been able to objectively take a seat back and observe some of the things that have been going on, you are now better equipped to start making some of those data-based revisions, as well as start to kind of piece out, okay, this RBT or BT provided me feedback on this program and what their perspective is from their angle. This is what I see from my perspective and my angle, and this is what the current program is, again, if it is a case that you're taking over. And you're able to take all of that information and be better equipped with tailoring a new program or a style of intervention that you are going to utilize based upon you having that ability to take a seat back and really take it all in. During this time, you also want to establish what your system will be. And I created a video here where I'm talking about planning out your day and creating your system as a whole. So be sure to check it out because I think that that might be helpful for you as a BCBA. But you might want to also consider, how am I going to organize my caseload? What is that going to look like for me? Are there going to be specific days where I do specific things, where I see specific kids? If you also have the administrative responsibility of holding team meetings or case meetings and things like that, when is that going to happen? happen, how is that going to be implemented? Those are some things that you most certainly need to think about when you're considering the systems that you're going to be establishing as a BCBA. I know for me specifically, I had utilized Excel to be able to track the deadlines, as well as my utilization of hours and when I was observing what client and what staff, to make sure that I was hitting all of the requirements that I was supposed to. And if I wasn't able to hit those requirements, how can I make adjustments so that I could set myself up better for the next week or for the next month? So these are some things that could also help you if you are looking to create your own internal system. Your organization may have a system for that matter, or a platform that they use, but also feel free if you think that it can help yourself to create your own system so that you can stay on track. And the last month, which will be approximately 61 to 90 days in month 3, you want to make sure that you are communicating, being reflective, and leveling up. Let's cue Sierra. Level up, level up, level up. Ooh, level up, level up, level up. Ooh, level up, level up, level up. Ooh, level up, level up, level up. Oh, this sauce is so yummy. This is where you are just like refining your system, what your rhythm is, your cadence and flow, and then also continuing to build on that confidence. Wow. So if you have a supervisor or a clinical director, making sure that you are scheduling those check-in meetings with them, that person will honestly be one of your guiding lights throughout your journey. So you want to make sure that you are able to have multiple touch points with them so that not only you can see how you can continue to evolve as a supervisor, but also to gleaning in and learning from their experience. If they are, again, a lead BCBA or a clinical director, they have more than likely been through the ropes and have had so many experiences that can be rich in helping you to understand how you can start to shape and mold yourself to be the best supervisor that you can be to your staff, yourself, as well as your clients. You also want to think about what type of touch points you want to have with your team and how can that be consistent over time. So depending upon the setting you're in, it might be really difficult to have touch points with your team, but it's super important to be able to have those touch points to be able to continue to build the relationship with your RBTs or your BTs. And this might be just a small touch point to figure out how can we problem solve, or what are some of the things that we can do to support the client, and what are some of the things that I can do to support you. And if it is that time is a crunch and it's very difficult for you all to be able to meet outside of session, it might be that you reserve 5 minutes within your session just to have that touch point, because honestly, it goes a long way and it can help you to continue to reflect and think about the things that you can change in order to better support your team. Wow. And as you're in this reflective space of what is working and what is not working, you want to also figure out how you've managed your time. Again, watch that video because I talk in detail about it there. But how are you managing your time? And are you managing your time a way that is best for you as a BCBA, that is also best for what you need to do to provide to your clients or your staff or your parents? As a BCBA, there are so many layers and things that we have to do. So you want to make sure that you are managing your time in a way that you can still be productive as well as proactive and active and present. Y'all like that? Productive, proactive, active, present within your organization, but also too in a way that does not burn you out, because as we know, burnout is a thing. So let me know in the comments below where you are within your first 90 days and what has been the most challenging for you so far. I may have some advice, or maybe someone else in the community may have advice for you. The 3 things that you need to make sure that you're taking away is observe, lead, and refine. Your first 90 days as a BCBA do not need to be chaotic. I know sometimes you might feel like you're floating in the wind. You don't know what is going on, but it is super imperative that you make it feel intentional. Make sure that you check out the video that's coming next in regards to how I have broken down my weekly schedule as a BCBA to be more intentional and to decrease the opportunity of me working 24/7, because who wants to do that? Not me. So as always, thank you all for watching. If you are new here, please consider subscribing. And if you are a returning subscriber, you know I rock with you. So thank you all so much, and bye for now.